This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's David Newman, and we are doing a Google Hangout with one of the smartest guys I know in the world of sales and selling, my buddy Mark Hunter, author of, look at this, High Profit Selling. Just awesome. So Mark, welcome.
Hey, thank you. And the word low profit just wasn't going to cut it, so we figured we'd go high. So,
low profit selling.
Yeah.
I think we all have that mastered. That's probably my book. That's my book.
Because bad salespeople have skinny kids.
Exactly right. Well, I got to tell you, I have this book. I've read this book. There is so much great information here. Let's start from the perspective of most salespeople, most executives, most entrepreneurs. You know, the theory is, and maybe the premise of the book is, that anybody can sell if they're willing to cave on price.
Yeah, that was the exact premise, because free, hey, I can sell free. That's not selling. That's taking orders. Right.
That's right. Exactly. So in your experience, when you're looking at salespeople, entrepreneurs, people who are just in the role of selling, whether they're trained salespeople or not, what are some of the big mistakes that you see that has to do with selling in general, and then specifically selling at the price that you want? And I've got a whole bunch of other questions to follow up.
The biggest problem is that the salesperson doesn't believe in their own price. They don't believe in their own product. And there is no way that a customer is going to believe in the price if you don't believe in the price. One of the things that I talk about in the book is how more discounts are given because the salesperson doesn't believe in the price than the customer demanding a lower price. It comes down to, if you don't believe, you can't sell it.
Absolutely. So if people, and I know that you do this in your training and in your consulting and in your seminars, how do we get some of that belief? How do we re-anchor ourselves in the true value of whatever product or service we're selling?
Well, I could make some funny jokes, but I won't. Let's cut to the chase. It comes down to really the fact that, first of all, remember, nobody buys anything. It doesn't matter whether it's a business or a person. Nobody buys anything. They invest. They are expecting a return on their investment. And again, this is whether or not it's a business or even whether or not it's an individual, because they're trying to overcome some sort of issue, achieve a better position, gain some sort of an advantage, or forego a problem they may experience. Could be any one of those. Now, the deal for you, the salesperson, is that you have to believe that you deliver outcomes. Focus on outcomes. If we focus on the outcomes, it changes our whole paradigm. I'm not selling you a book. What I'm selling you is an outcome to be able to achieve more sales success. That changes the whole concept of the price of the book. The price of the book might be X, but wait a minute. If you're going to achieve X to the 100th power, suddenly X becomes chump change. Focus on the outcome. That helps you, the salesperson, to believe more in what it is that you're selling.
And how does that intersect? Because I love some of this, if you look at the table of contents of this fabulous book, some of this stuff is completely counterintuitive. Some of it may even seem kind of dangerous or scary. Yeah. So, and again, I'm going in no particular order. Yeah. Skip the sales presentation.
Right.
Skip the sales presentation. Yeah. What's that philosophy? How do you teach your people to skip the sales presentation?
Because I'm not very smart. I could never learn a sales presentation, okay? Give me a break. I can't. See, here's what, nobody wants to be sold. Nobody wants to be sold. Here's the argument I use. The best sales presentation ever made is the sales presentation never given. Now, what do I mean by that? What this means is that, David, if you had a salesperson coming in right now into your office and giving you this sales presentation, you would probably go, oh, I'm bored. What you want to have is a discussion. So the whole idea is the salesperson comes in and has a discussion because, oh, by the way, anything you can possibly tell them in a stupid presentation, they can find on the internet. See, so it's not about what you're telling them. It's about what you're learning from them. So what I want to do is I want to be able to know my material so well, inside, outside, forward, backwards, whatever, top to bottom. But I want to be able to walk into you, sit down, and have a discussion. And the presentation is a discussion. And oh, by the way, the presentation is a discussion because all I'm doing is I'm asking you questions. I was doing a workshop last week and I got to give this hats off to a person who told me this. He said, really, Mark, what you're saying is you want the customer to drive the car, but you're choosing the road to go down. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Let the customer drive, but you're choosing the road. They will tell you what the problems are. It doesn't get any easier than that. That's pretty easy in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some questioning techniques? I know you've got all kinds of strategies and templates and philosophies and even just the way to have that initial sales conversation. Great section in here, by the way, on prospecting. So talk about prospecting, talk about sales conversations. What are some characteristics of an effective sales conversation? And then where do salespeople and entrepreneurs screw it up?
Yeah, well, let me just share with you, because what you just did was a perfect example. You asked me like 3 or 4 questions, which were absolutely terrific. And that's what a typical salesperson does. Because really what I come down to is this. The best questions are short questions. Short questions get you long answers. Long questions get you short answers. Now, David, you read that script so good because what you did was you asked me about 4 different questions. So when you got done, I just wanted to go, huh? Which is a normal state of my mind. I mean, that's a normal state of my mind. So what I want to do is I want to ask very short questions because they get you long answers. Now, let's dig into this a little bit. Well, let me back up by sharing with you a story. If we have anybody watching this who enjoys the New York Yankees, I just want you to know that I hate the New York Yankees. Okay, now we've got that out on the table. And in particular, I hate Derek Jeter. Why? I have no idea. But anyway, picture yourself as standing in front of a Derek Jeter bobblehead doll. Your objective is the customer is the Derek Jeter bobblehead doll. And I want to get that head moving. I want to get that head moving. The more I get that head moving, the more information I'm going to get. And the way I do that is by asking you a question. So I might ask you a question. And whatever it is you share with me, I'm going to come back and ask you a follow-up question. Because, oh, by the way, you, the customer, has a little tendency to lie to me. Oh, did I say that? The customer lies? Oh, I'm so sorry. But here's why I believe this. It's not that the customer is intentionally lying. It's that they don't realize they're lying because they don't know what they're looking for. So what I've always said is not only are you the customer, and David, I think you fit this well, you're a Derek Jeter bobblehead doll, but now I'm going to turn you into an onion, and I'm going to peel layers from the onion. And, you know, those first 25 layers of the onion, you just throw in the garbage can. You know, you put down the disposer. It's getting down to, I don't know what they call the inside of the onion, but that's the part you want to get down to. That's what you want to do. So what I want to do is I want to ask you, the customer, enough questions that are going to get you sharing with me information. Because when you share with me information, then I know what it is you're looking for. I can sit here and show up and throw up. And believe me, I can do that better than anybody. But it's not going to do me any good. So that was the questioning one. But David, I bet you got a question on that, don't you?
I do. What do you do as a salesperson when you start feeling that your questions might be getting too intrusive or too invasive, or is that even a problem?
No, you know what? I love it. That is so cool because I want to become a little intrusive. I want to become a little evasive because that's where I'm really going to find out the good stuff because, you know, it's very easy. If I go to the doctor, in fact, this morning I went to the doctor for my physical and he walks in the room and says, how you doing? Fine. And that's a bold-faced lie. I'm having a physical, okay? Now, there should be some issues that a person of my age is starting to have. See, so now he's got to start asking questions. And it isn't until he starts to get a little, you know, and I don't want to say in your face, but, ooh, you see what's happening is there's a level of comfort. There's a level of confidence that's being developed. The better job I do in asking you questions, the better the job you are of answering them. And what's happening is you are now seeing in me, the salesperson, a level of competence. And that competence helps you to feel more confident. And oh, by the way, the more confident you feel, the more confident I feel. The more confident you feel, the more confident I feel. The more confident I feel about my price. You see, I get the higher price when I ask good questions. Too many people get the lousy price because they ask lousy questions.
I love what you're saying about that peer relationship and about that level of confidence and competence.
Yeah.
If we're selling to the C-suite, and there's a whole section in here about selling to the C-suite, what are some do's and don'ts for selling to the C-suite?
I think one of the best situations is picture yourself, you're the CEO of a company, big company. Okay, we'll say it's a Fortune 500 company, and you're having a lousy day. Not unusual, but you just can't walk down to the cafeteria and start shooting the breeze with other people in the company about how lousy this place is, how you hate the company, how it stinks. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen. You can't do that as a CEO. People in the C-suite are very isolated, very, very lonely. Surprisingly enough, they don't have people to connect with. They can't even go to the restroom. They just can't because of discussions that they could suddenly find themselves in, engaged in. So you as a salesperson have to come into them at their level. This is why you have to really be referred in. Now, does this mean you have to know somebody no, they have to see you as bringing to them a level of expertise that nobody else can bring to them. You see, here's what I found. The lower you are in an organization, the more focused you are on tactical execution and price. The further up you go in an organization, the more strategic you become and the less you are concerned regarding price. It's about the outcome. And I can share with you many, many examples where I've been able to sell big programs for myself, not at the street level, that front level manager. Oh, no. But when you get far enough up the food chain, oh yeah. Price, it's not even discussed because they're looking for the outcome. So what I have to do is I have to create a way for me to be seen strategically. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means I may need to be blogging. I may need to be networking with groups. I may need to be connecting somehow with other people who are going to be in that same C-suite circle. That's where you want to connect with. And one of the very interesting things that I found, many, many C-suite people connect with a particular university president. I have found myself engaged with people in the C-suite by way of connecting through university faculty, because many of these C-suite people do pro bono types of things with university faculty. They speak at a class, they come in, they give a guest lecture, they participate in something, they may help them with some sort of a fundraising. So if you want a way to penetrate C-suites, get engaged at the university level with faculty in the particular school of what you're on. Now, for me, sales, it's the business school. There are 3 or 4 business schools around the country that I like to kind of connect with, participate with, and help with. And it's amazing the relationships it leads to.
Wow. I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of smart marketing and sales and business development strategies. I've taken a ton of sales training. I have never, and I mean never, heard this strategy, which I think is brilliant, about connecting through university faculty.
Yeah.
So if you befriend a business professor, or, if it's marketing, if it's advertising, if it's whatever it might be, I'm guessing folks that sell in the industry, industrial relations, or the extension program, how do you leverage that relationship to ask them to be referred or to tell them what you're hoping to accomplish and to enlist their help? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, okay. Now, first of all, it's not a straight line path. It's not like, okay, I want to penetrate this company, so therefore I'm going to go to this university. It is not a straight line. And I did not go into this process intentionally thinking this was going to be the outcome. This was a byproduct. How I wound up doing it was I naturally have been kind of, I don't want to say a sucker, but a soft spot. If a university person calls me, hey, would you help out here? Yeah, I tend to volunteer. I will help out. And then as a result, I've been able to find myself doing some mentoring with different students, okay? So what does this do? Well, this allows you to come to this, hey, we're going to have this breakfast, which is going to have all of our mentors and mentees at this breakfast. So suddenly you're seated at a table having breakfast with the person you've been mentoring for that semester, and sitting right across the table from you happens to be the VP of sales or the COO or the CEO of a company, and you suddenly wind up creating this discussion. I got a great relationship that way one time. But another way that just happens is, and again, this happened, I was offering to do some stuff, and he said, hey, would you come and sit on this panel? Would you come and sit on this panel with other C-suite people? Love to. Love to. Guess what? You wind up creating relationships. And so what happens is you wind up slowly endearing yourself to, whether it be the dean, whether it be to other endowed chairs, you wind up and your name just kind of begins to travel. And then somebody says, hey, I'm having breakfast with so and so. And hey, love to have you meet this guy. And over the years, I've had the chance to meet several very senior level people and create long-standing relationships. Now, what is very interesting is these relationships you create wind up then reaching across to other companies, because people in the C-suites talk to people in other C-suites. So again, it just becomes this giant puzzle that you're putting together. And what I like about it is the whole time I'm getting jazzed because I'm learning a tremendous amount, hanging out with students, hanging out with faculty. So I'm getting my battery charged. And I'd like to think that I'm probably giving them some ideas too. And along the way, I'm picking up business. Wow, this is a cool world. I think I like it. I like it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So that seems like a great medium-term to long-term strategy.
Yes.
Short-term, because I want to get back into some of these things that I've highlighted here. Talk a little bit about, well, obviously we're going to get to the pricing discussion because that's huge. Not only not caving on price, but we're going to talk about increasing price. Talk about prospecting. So let's say the short-term strategy is, okay, for the next 3 to 6 months, what should people be focusing on as a prospecting strategy?
Yeah, first of all, narrow your niche. Less becomes more. You can sit there, and there's 2 parallel paths that you're going to run. One is what I'm going to call my selling prospecting, and one is my marketing prospecting. They're parallel paths. Now, what this means is, and I'm going to do my marketing prospecting path first. And David, you do this very well. In fact, you do both of these very well. But I've got my mailing list. I've got my email list. I've got my website. I've got my YouTube. I've got all my vehicles out there. For instance, I blog 6 days a week. Well, maybe it's 5.5 days out of 7, but we blog 6 days out of 7. We post a new video on YouTube. We are constantly putting things out there. Now, what we're also doing is we like to offer ebooks and so forth and all things. And what we're doing is we're capturing as many names and emails, okay, to develop this marketing list. We email to the list once a week. Once a week we send out, okay, that path. Now, over here on my sales prospecting path, what I'm doing is I'm taking who is the narrow, tight niche that I want to reach. Don't try to reach everybody. Narrow your list, target your list. And you've got to be able to hit those people 6 times. In fact, what I really call this is 6 MPM, 6 messages per month. Whoa, Mark, that's a lot. No, it's not a lot if you do it right. Here's the technique that I found. I may have 4 or 5 companies. We may have 10 companies. We may have 20 that I want to penetrate. So what I'm going to do is, I've got to know who that target is that I want to reach. You say, Mark, I don't know who the target is I want to reach. Fine. You know what? That's where tools like LinkedIn, tools like Jigsaw, which are now owned by Salesforce, and any number of other tools are going to help you find people. Now, before I jump into that list, let me talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is gold. LinkedIn is, I think, the 3rd best search engine out there. You have Google, YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. I know it's owned by, but it's really, if you look at it, it's a kind of a separate search engine. So Google, YouTube, LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn profile has to be so rich, so robust, so strong. You've got to make sure that you are keyword optimized, just like you do with Google, you do with LinkedIn. Okay, now, because what that does is people find me on LinkedIn and they pick up the phone and call me. Okay, they do that all the time. Now, let's come back over here though. What I want to do is we'll say that I'm going to target David Newman. And David Newman owns Newman 100, a Fortune 100 company. So what I might do is I might try to pick up the phone and I might try calling David. And guess what? I get nowhere. I don't even get his voicemail. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to send him an email with a link to an article that just appeared this morning on CNBC.com or Bloomberg or Reuters or WSJ.com. I'm going to send him a link to some site. Hey, just saw this, thought it would be of interest to you. Guess what? He's probably not going to get it. At best, his administrative assistant might get it. That's okay. I'm fine. I'm cool. I might then, a few days later, a week later, I might send him another message. And this message might be, hey, congratulations on your 3rd quarter earnings. Saw them. Great. Fine. Again, it doesn't go anywhere. And see, just like it says on the back of the shampoo bottle, repeat, that's what you got to keep doing. You got to keep repeating. But here's the big difference. Most salespeople go in and try to sell right off the bat. I don't want to sell off the bat. I want to create a relationship. I want to connect with you first. If I connect with you first, then you'll be more willing to listen to me. Now, the one deviation is I used you, David Newman, as the CEO of Newman 100, a Fortune 100 company. If you were truly in that position, I would only be hitting you once a month for 12 months. Now, let me walk through this here. I'm going to do senior level people in major companies. I'm going to hit them once a month for 12 months. Mid-level people and lower, I'm going to do 6 MPM. I'm going to use the same strategy, but I'm just going to compact it. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I might hit you with half a dozen messages real quick. If you don't bite, I'm walking away. I'm going to walk away. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to walk away for probably 3, 4, 5 months. I'm going to have you on the marketing list, but I'm not going to try to do anything more than that. I'm not going to do anything more than that. Then I'll come back and I'll do another blitz. I'll come back, and I keep doing that in and out. But that is one of the best strategies that I found. One of the biggest problems people have in sales is they try to, hi, can I set up a meeting and come by and talk to you about how wonderful my widgets are and how they're really great? Oh, shut up. If I need widgets, I'll call you when I need them. And oh, by the way, I don't need your widgets and I don't need you. You see, the key is I've got to be seen differently. So when everybody's out there trying to sell, everybody's yinging, I'm yanging. When everybody's zigging, I'm zagging.
Wow, no, that is fantastic. That is really, and we all teach this and preach this. No one understands. One of the great sound bites out there is that the shortcut is the long way. The shortcut is the long way, right? I mean, we all like, oh, I want, I want to sell my stuff. I want to get the meeting. I want to get the meeting. And you haven't established value and you haven't done anything that would separate you from the crowd. So let's talk about pricing.
Yeah.
Pricing. You have a whole bunch of chapters in here about pricing and dealing with the purchasing department, dealing with RFPs. I'm learning. I'm going to ask you one question.
Yeah.
I just asked 4 questions all at once. If you're selling commodities, and some of us are and some of us aren't, and some of us even are selling things that are not commodities, but they're perceived as such, how do you escape the price-driven sale if your prospect thinks you're selling a commodity?
Well, I start off by standing in front of a mirror. And David, you and I, we look totally different. You are much better looking than me. I mean, that just goes without saying. I have the face for radio. And you see, so even though we're commodities, we're different. You and I could be selling the exact same thing, but we're not selling the same thing. Because the first thing, and again, this is something we've all taught, but we so rarely do. The first thing people buy is you. You could have the ultimate commodity. Somebody else could have the ultimate commodity. And if you can't beat their price, I'm not going to buy from you. Well, excuse me. Go ahead and buy from them at that price and see if they actually deliver. It's so low they can't deliver or they can't sustain. You must create distinguishable difference. Here's the whole goal. The goal that you want to do is this. You want to achieve a relationship with your customers where they are asking you questions about things that you have nothing to do with. Think about this for a moment. If I'm selling, we'll say that I'm a pharmaceutical rep, okay? I'm a pharmaceutical rep and I'm selling to a drugstore. And the pharmacist at the drugstore goes to the pharmaceutical rep and says, hey, where do you think the whole issue of security really should be when it comes to cash flow, when it comes to credit card processing? Now, think about that. Would a pharmacist ask a drug rep that question regarding credit card cash flow and safety and so forth if they didn't see them as a strategic partner? No, they wouldn't. See, so what I'm trying to do is I want to position myself as a strategic partner. So what does this mean? I may be selling you a commodity, but remember, you're still looking for a return on investment. So what I want to do is I want to find ways that you can optimize your purchase. How does your purchase fit better? So it may be a commodity, but can I ship it to you in a different configuration? Can I ship it to you in a different quantity? Can I invoice it differently? Can I set up payment terms differently? Can I help you with flow through? Can I help you with processing? There are any one of a sundry of a number of other things. And I work with a lot of commodity companies in just this regard. In fact, I was just on the phone just half an hour before we talked here today, David. with a company that is basically in a 2-horse race. It's either us or it's them. And they said, man, she said, yeah, you're gonna keep cutting your price down until somebody goes out of, you're in a death march. You're just in a simple death march. So your whole thing is position yourself different, and it starts with you. And that means there are going to be times that you're going to walk away from a deal. Don't sweat bullets. Sometimes the most profitable deal you get is the one you don't get. Think about that for a moment. Sometimes the most profitable deal you get is the one you don't get. Believe me, I've gone into this situation with commodity companies where we're going to keep bidding that price down, keep bidding that price down, keep bidding that price down, to where the competitor gets the big contract. They get the big contract, but it's so low that they have a hard time servicing it. So guess what? Me, as the runner-up, the loser, no, I'm not the loser. I'm the winner, because you know what? I get the emergency phone calls. I get the ability to backfill everything that the winner couldn't fill because the price was so low. So I wind up maybe only doing 1/20th the volume, but making 10 times the money. I think my CFO would like that approach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to tell people how they can connect with you. So obviously, thesaleshunter.com, you've got a fabulous blog, you've got a fabulous newsletter that I sincerely recommend. I get probably 20 or 30 different newsletters. Mark, yours is one that I open every week for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is super short. And number two, it is super valuable. But how else can people connect with you? Then I've got a couple closing questions.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they can email me anytime, mark@thesaleshunter.com. But jump out to the website. It's The Sales Hunter. That is the best way for people to connect. And you kind of crack up, it's short, yeah, because believe me, I can't sustain a single thought for longer than about 30 seconds. So that's why it's all short.
Right. It's a quick read.
Yeah.
Now, for folks that are in your chair and my chair, so we'll do a little bit, kind of last couple quick questions, one at a time. For folks that are in the training, coaching, speaking, consulting, author business, like you, like me, how do some of your principles apply to folks like us that are not selling widgets, but we're selling seminars, training, coaching, consulting?
State your price with confidence, and walk away. You do not negotiate. And I know this can be creepy. This can be really scary, because you're saying, hey, look, I got a mortgage payment to make. I got a car payment to make. I got insurance to make. But I have had this happen several times, and I can't tell you this. It happens to me more times than not. Someone will ask me what my fee is. And first of all, I don't tell them what my fee is. I want to understand what their problems are. I want to understand what their needs are, because I'm going to wrap my investment. It's not a fee. It's an investment around helping them solve their problems. But then when I do it, I'm going to do it to them with square on eye contact, straight on body language. Now, many times it's on the phone. Sometimes it's even by way of email. That's okay. But it's with absolute confidence. And I don't sit there and say, well, I can go ahead and cut this or cut. No. If there's any hesitation in there, you create an A, B, and a C offer. You create an A offer, which is the Uber offer, which is so unbelievably high. Then you create the B offer, which is the one you want them to take. And then you give them a C offer. You just make sure that the C offer is yes, less, but your margin, the profit you're going to make off it, is so good that even if they did go with it, hey, you can laugh all the way to the bank. Because what you do is you want to get them to be. But you know what? You'd be surprised. Every now and then, somebody will take the Uber offer, the A offer, that Uber offer, and you go, oh, yes. You have to be prepared to walk away.
So let me just say one more time, if you don't yet have a copy of Mark's book, you're a goofball. You got to get a copy of this book, High Profit Selling. I'm going to skim through just the chapter headings themselves. So I love the first section about you're actually hurting your profit every time you cave on price. And again, we all know this, but it doesn't stop us from doing it. Right? Needs and benefits to command a higher price. There's a whole bunch of great things in there. Value, the whole value conversation, chapter 4, totally awesome. Big chapter on prospecting, about 20, 25 pages on prospecting. Sell more by talking less. Man, I got to master that one. Holy smokes. I love what we talked about earlier about skip the sales presentation. The trusted advisor positioning, you and I totally believe in that.
Yep.
And that's huge. Selling to the C-suite. Handling price objections, price increases. Let's end on this, because this is huge. Everyone objects to the price. If they didn't object to the price, we wouldn't be caving on price.
Right.
What are some key nuggets to handle price objections?
The reason you don't give the price out early enough is because you want to find at least 2 significant needs or problems that the client has, the potential client has, okay? And if they are sitting there and they're challenging you on your price, you come back and you say, what's the risk to you if your organization is not able to get this accomplished by then? Or if your team is not able to do this? I think if I remember right, you were mentioning that you're looking for a 20% increase in sales and profit this year from your team, right? And that's going to be this. Okay, so this is really good because the investment for my material is X and you're going to get Y. Wow, pretty good. See what I'm doing? I'm coming back and I'm not offering up a discount. I'm asking a question or posing a statement wrapped around one of the critical needs, the pain, the problem that you called me about initially.
And you're also feeding back some of those answers that they gave, because they're not going to they're not going to argue with their own data, right? They're not going to argue with exactly what they said to you verbatim. So you're bringing them back to, here's what I heard, here's why you called, here's how you framed out the problem. I think we can help you, and then you remind them of the impact and the outcome of not solving the problem, and you remind them of the impact and the outcome of solving the problem.
Which is so beautiful. You let the customer guide you.
Absolutely. Last couple closing thoughts, words of wisdom, anything else you'd like to share? What else can we leave people with?
2 things. We absolutely, in our job, and I don't care what your job is, you impact people. Your goal is to impact people positively with whatever it is you're selling. You might be selling widgets, you might be selling software, you might be selling training. Your ability is to influence and impact people positively. And that's absolutely essential. And guess what? The more profit you're making, the higher the profit you're making, provides you with the tools and the support and the expertise to reinvest into your business to allow you to impact and influence even more people. So profit is not an obscene word. Profit is a wonderful word, because the more profit I'm making, I firmly believe the more profit I'm bringing to my clients and my customers, because they're achieving a higher level of outcome themselves. It's a wonderful business. I love it.
Absolutely. All right, Mark Hunter, thesaleshunter.com. Sign up right now. Get onto Mark's email newsletter. Follow his blog. Buy his book. Hire him for your company. Hire him as your speaker for your association, your trade show, your everything, and you will thank me. You will thank Mark, but you're going to thank me, because I'm the guy that said, hire this guy. Hire this guy. Don't be a goofball.
Thank you much.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Great selling.
Soon. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.